Hello, my name is Catherine. I'm talking to you from Western Australia. I'm going to be talking about my experience when my father died about 7 years ago. Kept saying to me, "I'm going out with a bang. I'm going out with a bang," and he certainly did. There's no doubt about it. It was a very, very dark and stormy night. I'd spent the previous night with him and he hallucinated a lot. He was on his way out, but he stayed with me. And the next day we got him off to hospital because he had a minor fall and he didn't have the strength to hold himself up. So I got him off to hospital and I stayed with him as long as I could. I had a thumping migraine and I never get headaches this fine afternoon. And then I left him at the hospital and I went over to my husband's house and I stayed with him the evening. We'd separated at the time, but we'd been spending a bit of time together during this hard time. So I went to bed that evening and the thunder and the lightning were insane. I checked in on Dad before I went to sleep. I made sure that he was all right in the hospital, and they said, yeah, he's still here. He's still chasing women and doing crazy things. So sure enough, 3:30 in the morning, I woke to my mobile ringing. The thunder and lightning were immense. The power blacked out. I couldn't find the phone. I went to turn the light on and the power had blacked out at the same time as the phone ringing. And sure enough, it was the doctor in the hospital to let me know Dad had passed. So I went through the conversation with the doctor, and when he told me that he'd passed, my body was just like relieved in a very, very profound way. I felt this sense of calm come over me. And then I finished the conversation with the doctor and I went back to bed. And in the twilight hours, about 6 a.m., I was really, really restless and I was half asleep and half awake. And I looked up and before I knew it, there he was in the form of an oil painting with a beard, looking very peaceful, serene. I described it as a Vincent van Gogh painting. That's how I describe it. But it was my father. So here he was, and I kept trying to look, and then he just disappeared into nowhere and I fell back asleep. But that was my experience of knowing that he was in heaven. He was on his way to heaven. He always told me that he wasn't staying upstairs, he was going downstairs. He reckoned he'd been a bad boy. But I knew after seeing him that he was definitely on his way upstairs. He looked so peaceful and so serene and so happy. His last wish was to go in the form of a Viking funeral and to be donated to charity to the medical students so they could chop him up and use him for research. But he couldn't do that because he had a stint. But what we did manage to do was send him off in his last wish in his will in the form of a Viking funeral with his ashes. I can't tell you what we did, but I can tell you we had a great farewell. There were 3 of us on board that day. It was a very, very rough season. He would have been very proud.